at Sabrachi Jewelry Design, or Sabrachi. I don't even say his name right anymore because of Zach. He's a sponsor of Now We Go, and he's a sponsor of this show. He's a dual sponsor. He's a gemologist. He's a jeweler. He's specialized in CAD design, and he's also a branding specialist. You need anything at all done in those categories, Matt is the best motherfucker for that. It's D'Antonio and Klein Jewelers in Philadelphia, PA, and he's also going to be doing it soon to be in Lehigh Valley, PA. You can call or DM for appointments. He's in Philly on 726 Sanson Street, and you can follow him on social media at Sabraki Jewelry Design. He's made pendants for finishers. We're working on stuff together. It's not just jewelry. We're working on pendants and all kinds of things. He's making rings. He can do anything that you need, from design to gems to jewelers. He is the real deal, and I'm excited. He's a childhood friend who grew a diamond business. He's a jeweler. We did a podcast with him. It's a cool story. Check him out. Sabraki Jewelry Designs. Influencer, TikToker, entrepreneur, OnlyFanser. At this point, I'm just adding ERs. Show stalker, Gypsy Sister Kelly Lynn. She's sponsoring the show. And all you little boys who hit me up in my DMs, look at that, man. She's in a bikini. Go pay for it. Go pay for it. Go over to her Instagram. You want to know what Kelly's doing? Guys and girls, because girls, you can learn what she's doing. She's making a lot of money. You go over to @theGypsySister. You click on the link in her bio. After you look at all her pictures, a lot of good content. She's putting out content. She's an influencer. She's crushing TikTok. So you get into that Instagram, and then you click on it. And then you got your links. You got all your links now. You can see everything she's doing. Everything. She's doing merch. She'll pick up a shirt or a pillow. You want to sleep next to her? That's what I do. I got 6 of them in my bed. TikToker. You want to see her dance a little bit? See her dance on the railroad? Go there. She's an entrepreneur, an influencer, a TikToker. We're doing a podcast together. She's got a webpage coming. Should have asked me to do it. It'd be done. And she's a counselor. Girls, you want to learn how to do what she's doing? Go check it out. All the information is at Gypsy Sister on Instagram. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for finally taking the step towards OnlyFans. And you can go check it out, guys. Get out of my DMs and get into hers. Thank you, Kelly. Mad J's Barbecue, www.madjsbarbecue.com. They take cash, they take credit card. You can order online. Order online is the easiest for everybody. They can also call in their order. They got 2 locations. They are killing the barbecue game. Started out small. Now these guys got 2 separate locations. They're doing catering. They're doing pop-ups at Seven Sirens Brewery. What else can these guys do? The Nazareth location is over at 52 East Lawn Road. Anybody knows where Nazareth is? It's down past 7-Eleven, right next to Rita's. Shout out Calandra. They are at 52 East Lawn Road, and that's 610-365-7275 and www.madjsbarbecue.com. Justin just opened up the second location, and he is a part of Willow Creek Brewery, and that is 643 Penn Avenue, West Reading, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be having these guys on the show, and they are crushing barbecue, catering, in-store, pickup. They're doing it all, man. They're doing it all. Check them out at madjsbarbecue.com, and thank you for being a sponsor. All right, man. Never Again Radio, episode 125, I'm guessing. That was good. I usually hit the mic. Welcome to Never Again Radio, my friend. You have so many stories built into your story. I reached out before COVID, and I wanted to do something, and it was exciting to see what you guys were doing. I got a tour of the place. You guys were new, exciting, busy, all the stuff going on, and then you got clipped at the balls by COVID. But I don't want to get into that yet because there's a story before all that. Seven Sirens Brewery. How did you guys even remotely get started into making your own beer?
Fuck.
Good answer, right, man. You know, it is a long story. I got my elevator speech that I've been telling everyone forever. You know, the 60-second spiel. But it all started. I've been working for my family's businesses my whole life. My dad owns his own business in Lehigh Valley. Just knew I didn't want to do that. That was first and foremost. I love my family, love helping them, all that stuff. But I wanted to kind of find my own way. I was going to L-Tri-C, for business and just trying to figure out what I'm doing. And it just kind of hit me. Get out of Pennsylvania, what are you like? Quit wasting time. Join the Navy. So joined the Navy. My grandfather was in the Navy. None of my like immediate family members were in the military, so it was kind of like a foreign thing at that time. Joined the military. I was doing a lot of consuming of beer in the Navy, and then I got into home brewing. It was something one of my friends was doing, and he ended up actually getting out of the Navy and making a brewery in Long Beach, California, stationed out in San Diego. So that's when, like, I just helped him, do bitch work and, help him get the place going. And that's when it, like, really clicked, like, oh, this is just something you can do. You don't have to be ordained. You don't got anyone has to give you permission for any of it. You just make your own path. So fast forward, get out of the Navy, get a job, finish my degree, buy a house, all the adult shit they tell you to do. I was 26 years old, no debt, no kids, no wife. And I'm like, now what? So just kind of really was doing a lot of reflecting on everything I've been through, everywhere I've gone to, what are the similarities, what's missing, like where am I going, what am I doing? And, in my extracurricular activities, I was looking for beer gardens. I really liked the whole concept of just community coming together and, kids and dogs and, artists and musicians and sculptors and, all the stuff. And currently, if you still Google Lehigh Valley Beer Garden, like Dunderbox at the Lehigh Valley Mall comes up.
That was the best.
Is the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And I love them, but it's not a beer garden, And the Iron Pigs, Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs baseball stadium comes up as a beer garden. That's the smoking section with craft beer. Cool. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. We're on tap there. I love them. I'm happy about it, but it wasn't the traditional sense that I was kind of looking for. And, I just started looking at laws and how to make a beer garden. And I was like, I know how to brew beer. I've opened a brewery before. And the liquor license is 1/10 the cost of a restaurant license. And it's infinite. There's no limit to brewery licenses as opposed to like actual restaurant licenses.
Isn't it crazy when you just start looking into something and you're like, wait a minute. This is totally possible. And that there's going to be a bunch of bullshit, but you've been through bullshit. So you're like, all right, well, I can get through bullshit. So this is crazy. Like, and then it starts going and you're like, I think we're going to do this. And then that's all it takes is then, we were talking before about, jumping to do the thing. And I'm sure that'll be later in the story. But like when you just jump into that lane and you kind of start moving along and people, you start getting pushed in the lane and then you start going down the lane. Then you're just like, all right, we're opening a beer garden. Then you start saying it out loud. And then that's when it starts moving.
But like, how is it all like, how awesome is it to actually say, I'm going to make something for myself that I like? And you look back at all the other places you've been and realize how shitty they run their business.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was
like
a huge thing.
Honestly, like you go certain bars and like, well, you're fucking dumb. You don't know what you're doing. You're just taking money because no one ever like pushed against you.
Yeah, no, you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. Yeah. You go to 1,000 places all over the planet, and you're like, well, these dumb fucks are doing it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, I could do it weller. Like, I'm pretty sure I could fucking pull this off, you know? And,
when you really look at, like, who's running an operation or you see something where you're like, this place is making money and this is all wrong. And then when you're looking at doing something, then you're like, well, why the fuck am I not doing this? So then where were you at when you started getting in that lane and you started being like, we're going to do it, a beer garden?
I actually, so I was working as an engineer overnight at Ocean Spray in Browningsville. So I worked 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 3 days a week, 1 week, 4 days the next week, so on and so forth. I ended up actually exacerbating an injury from the Navy while at work. So it was something that I had to decide, like, all right, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. And this was what I've been trained to do. It's all my experience. It's my degree. It's everything that I've been working up to my entire life. I didn't, I joined the military. My parents spent all their money on my brother's med school.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped me join the Navy. And, just getting to that point where you sit down and I was doing research at that time. And I just started leaning into what I felt, like was calling me almost, you know what I mean? And it's and that, you know, is also tied into kind of the name of the company and the background of, you know, all that. It was just, you know, leaning into what the universe is calling you to do.
I dig the name of the business too, because when I'll tell people like, oh, we're doing a podcast with Seven Sirens, and they're like, why is there 7 and not 6? And I'm like, and you show them the logo, and they're like, oh, like the siren, like the, oh, I get it. And they're like, it all comes together. And it's like, they were in the Navy. Then it's like, oh, now, okay. Yeah, it is cool, though. Yeah. It's a cool logo, cool theme. It's good.
Yeah, but our slogan is the beer that sings to you. You know, the sirens would mesmerize sailors into jumping into the water to their peril. You know, and it's our 7 flagship beers were calling us into the water. You know what I mean?
Now, how long did it take you to come up with your actual, like, you know how every place has their flagship beers and like this is what like this represents us. This is what I like. That had to be a bitch, because there's I mean, there's so many different ways you can go. And I know, because like my father-in-law is a huge fucking beer snob. And when I asked him last time, he brews his own beer. I was like, well, what's the difference between this? I thought it was going to be like a 10-second answer. And it was, oh, that's right. He's like a scientist. He knows like, you know, why things are that way. And you get into it and I'm like, oh, this is way more than I want to know about.
Yeah, no. So, you know, we've made hundreds of recipes, all different
Well, that's what
styles.
I said. It's,
you know, all different things. And, you know, even traditional styles, there's variants of them. You know what I mean? So you could do anything you want. You know, the way we kind of do it, you know, traveling the planet and seeing all these places, you learn that like everyone's allowed to like what they like. Everyone has their own palate. Everyone has their own interests, has their own desires, and having something that everyone can enjoy, light to dark, fruity to smoky to light to, you know what I mean? Everything in between. And, you know, just kind of went down that road, and then, you know, started researching, you know, popular styles and sales, and literally that's how we kind of also dictate what beers are on tap. You know,
like you could make the best, say, German style lager ever, and if you realize like, oh, this doesn't sell, like it sells to a unique group of people, and it's probably awesome.
I love them,
but it's not going to make them any money.
Nope.
Exactly.
Were you guys brewing your own beer while doing this all at the same time? Were you guys like slowly making beers and being like, oh, we should do it this way and that way, and just kind of like garaging it at that point?
Yeah, we literally were in Josh's 1-car garage, which was literally this area right here, and we were brewing 5 gallons at a time. We were going to every beer festival that would have us with all of the limited credentials that we had. And, you know, we literally, there was years we were going to beer fest every weekend. We had, you know, 24 beers fermenting in his 1-car garage, you know, brewing multiple times a week while working full time, while he has kids. You know what I mean?
It's fun. I mean, I should say it's fun, maybe not for you, but for me going. I had a blast. Like, I'd go there, and the best is I go with my father-in-law, and you walk up to a place and you're like, all right, cool. They got like a cool name, cool logo. And the guy like will tell you this 10-minute story about the beer. And you take a sip and you're like, oh, this is shit. You just spent an hour coming up with a good sales pitch, and it's shit. There are so many different kinds of stuff, but I have tried your beer. So that's why you're here, by the way. I love it. I gave it again. I had told my father-in-law, I was like, we're just going to get a bunch of stuff. So I did. I tried it. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I ran the gamut, because I'm like, if he's strictly, well, he gravitates towards like IPAs, you know, New England style kind of stuff, whatever. But I literally got all different kinds of stuff, and I was like, we're going to try them all. Because if I say, oh, they're good, and somebody goes and tries something, and I was like, but I haven't found anything bad, which is pretty fucking hard to do.
Yeah, especially in our first year. I mean, it's something we're super proud of. I mean, I always tell everyone, like, hey, like, give that company a little bit of time. Like, they just started brewing.
They
don't know what the water is even like.
They might be trying some shit and putting it out there like feelers, and it's like, ooh.
I mean, I look at what we've done in the last 5 years, and like I said, we started this in my apartment, doing it with hand-me-down equipment.
It was
and
awesome.
if you would base anything we're doing off of that now. Like as long as like, and that's a big thing I push people is like, you just keep going, keep going, just keep working on it, keep getting it, keep taking it seriously. And then it's going to get to a point where you have a decision whether or not you want to do it full time. And maybe you do just want to brew beer as a hobby and do fun stuff. But then, what was it like when you guys decided after putting, was this something that you thought you were going to open, or was it just something you were letting grow and then being like, holy shit, dude, like the response on this is huge?
This 100% was just something where I was just testing the universe.
Yeah. Just to see, like, just pushing it and
I was
pushing
like,
it and seeing if it goes.
I said I'm not going to stop until there's a brick wall.
Yeah.
That I physically cannot get past.
Yeah. And what's crazy is once you have that attitude towards doing something, you start figuring out how to do things that most people wouldn't even have put the time or day or a thought into doing. And then when you really just break a problem down and you're like, okay, I've had a million problems in life. This is just this thing in front of me. How the fuck do we get around it? And when you start thinking that way, and then once you do that 2 or 3 times, that's just how you think now.
Yeah, you're not worried about any other problems coming down the road.
Yeah, but being in the military, but I'm saying, like you're taught to overcome all that shit.
100%.
So you kind of like cheated.
There's no option.
You cheated. Because
hey, I don't know, it sucked. It sucked ass for 6 years.
Oh no, I know. But I'm saying is,
what were you doing from 2009 to 2015?
No, I'm saying people that start up and they're like they wouldn't know how to handle it. Like you spent that time and learned that shit, so you had an extreme leg up, which is good for you.
Yeah.
Shitty for them.
I mean, that was one of the reasons I joined the military. Like I love my family. I love, but what you learn from your parents is only what they've learned in their lifetime.
Sure, and you want to potentially be better than them. So
that's
you would
the idea. I don't know. You want your kids to be better than you, right? Isn't that like?
Yeah.
So I knew that I had a lot of things that I had to mature and develop, and I wanted to serve my country. I'm patriotic. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to do all the things, and that's kind of a byproduct, but also the main reason of doing it. You know what I mean? Just being resourceful, being confident, being having just figure it out.
Well, and it's
stop bitching mentality,
and it's a proven fact that when you're in the military, like veterans and stuff, they make the best workers when they come out of the military because you have to learn how to solve problems. Yeah. It's not like some of these kids growing up now, they're like, oh, I don't know, and then no, you can't. You either you figure it out or you don't.
Yep.
And you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. And they stress test you when you're in the military.
Yeah.
We were doing drills on the ship 24 hours a day. You're sleeping, you get an hour's worth of sleep, and then alarms are going off, and then you're running to the other side of the ship, manning a fire hose, and then
I wouldn't do well
and then missiles are going off, and you have incoming this and that, and like you're forced to just like
operate under high stress.
Yeah, have almost tunnel vision when there's all that noise and chaos going on around you. You have to be able to prioritize. You have to be able to see what's important here. What are we trying to do? That shit can wait.
Yeah.
This is the priority. We can knock this out, or at least get it moving in a direction that it's self-sustaining, or that someone can help it along, and we need to move along at that point.
And that's perfect for business.
100%. Yeah,
but,
directly relatable.
Yeah.
What was the turning point, do you think, where you started getting the notoriety, and then you guys were kind of taking a little bit more serious? And when did you see the first growth, like the spurt or like the push in being like, hey man, I think this is possible?
Man, so many things. You know what I mean? There are so many milestones.
Yeah.
Especially when you've never been through it. So like each one's huge. You know what I mean? Like getting financing.
Yep.
That's gigantic.
Yeah.
I don't have a pot to piss in. You know what I mean? Before this. And it's just like, oh, somebody's willing to invest this X amount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This crazy amount that I've never seen before in my life. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing too, is how would you even learn to go to that meeting?
Exactly.
To stand in front of a bunch of people and be like, this is our business plan. And then for them to just not laugh you out the door. No one teaches you that shit.
You do it a bunch of times. I got laughed out of a bunch of fucking meetings.
Yeah.
You know what I said?
But you know what, though? Fuck those people, because look at you now.
Oh, they all want to finance us now?
Yeah, well.
Hey, if you're growing, or if you need this, or you need that, appreciate you.
Hey, rates have come down. You should check. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to finance myself now. Thank you.
When you were going through that, was there moments where you were like, kind of like where stuff's getting hard, and then you get past the problem, and then sometimes it's hard to look at where you're doing or how to gauge like how far things have come, and then like sometimes I would sit back and be like, okay, I don't know anyone else who would have went this far, So like we're still in a good area and like still keep going because, you know, I've had down years with things and, you know, there's been years where it's just been a mess. And then the next year is, well, hey, we're going to clean it up and going to get going. And then that's when the reality sets in where you only have 365 days and you start looking at shit being like, okay, what can we accomplish in this time? Like, were you kind of looking at yourself in times when it was getting wonky where you were like, okay, I'm doing something totally different than anyone I know as far as pushing this?
Yeah, but it was weird because that was the premise. The premise was do something that no one else is doing. You know, like I was looking for that void, for what the Lehigh Valley was missing, what the world's missing. You know, there's a million details in the brewery that you may or may not notice that are 100% intentional. Every square inch of that place is intentional. You know, and you know, along the way, I would always tell myself, like, man, there's got to be someone more qualified than me to do this. There's got to be someone who, I don't know, worked at a brewery before, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, who might have the basic understanding of how this operates, you know, and then you just keep going and everything you're overcoming, you're like, well, if they were more qualified, why aren't they doing it? Where are they? Where's their this? Where's their, you know what I mean?
They
It's
get
like
lazy.
Yeah.
They get lazy. And like, I'm not
Complacent.
going to name other places, but there's places like that too that started out and, you know, we're killing it. And then they just get lazy over the years. And it's like, everything starts to drop off. Beer gets fucking lame. And it's like, this wasn't, I remember I really liked this before. Now, why don't I like it as much? You find out they're just half-assing it now.
Well, a lot of them, you know, the cool thing about the brewing industry is that there's so many diverse backgrounds between all the different breweries. I mean, you get people who are physicists and engineers, and then you have people who just worked at a brewery cleaning kegs for 5 years,
And they know what beer is.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? Like, you have so many it's such a diverse industry. So like, yeah, some people are doing it as their retirement plan and what they want to do and kind of just go off into the sunset making beer. Awesome. That's great. I support that. You know what I mean? We, you know, my business partner and I, we're all in. This is, we hope to make this a multi-generational project, you know? So it's different things to different people. And I try, I'm not them. I try not, you know, everyone judges me. It's easy to judge people if you're not in their position, you know? So yeah, if you lose interest, you lose interest. You find something else you want to do, that's cool. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? God bless them.
When you were moving the projects along and you guys are deciding that you do want to do this beer garden, like, what was the general concept off the bat? Because when I got the tour of the facility, there is a reason for everything there, and we'll get into the structure and how to build it because your place is very unique, and I was lucky to see it in the very beginning before it was open, and the upstairs with the apartments and all that, like, and the parking and the food trucks, and that just worked out where the people pull up is also the same height as the bank window, like
to the inch.
There's a lot there that kind of like looks like it just fell into place, but I also know just from me starting this, like, what was the general concept of the place? Was it smaller, or were you guys always looking to be this massive?
So years of research and development, talking to different places, I mean, helping my friend open, and the number one thing that any brewery anywhere says is, we need more room. The first thing you can, on your journeys, you can ask them, what was, you know, they're going to say, we wish we had more room.
I keep telling him warehouse. That's where we're going next.
Yeah, dude, it's insane. So, you know.
Don't need a warehouse.
Guess where we're going to be.
So we're looking at spaces, we're looking at all these different breweries and what they're doing and the scale they're doing it. And, so we were looking for 3,000 to 5,000 square feet. You know, we knew that was like a decent size space for production and a decent sized tap room, a little bit of room for growth, and just looking at spots, this one fell into our lap. It ended up being nothing like what we thought at the time, honestly, but where we were trying to go, there wasn't the amount of space that we needed in like a conventional commercial spot.
I think it's important to point that out as well, as a lot of times when you have a vision of where you're going to be, there is the possibility of it never actually transforming into
to what you thought and what you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And I mean, that's huge too. I mean, you have to be able to, like, every step of the way say, this might not be how I imagined it, but it's what it is, and it's what it needs to be. It's guiding itself. It's making itself a real palatable thing, So if you try fighting that, or if you get upset every time it doesn't go exactly how you wanted it, like, that's it's going to eat you.
That's where it starts getting disastrous.
Yeah.
That's where it starts getting that's where there's breakdowns. That's where it starts getting the mental like that was a lot of my struggles early on was knowing I always wanted it to be this, and it was hard to get this to here, but it was also a lot harder not letting go of the fact of like, hey man, this is going where it's going to go. I'm not going to stop working, and if we're in some kind of weird situation, we're in it for a little bit, but we're going to get to where we're going, and you really have to be doing that. And it's easy to say it, and no one will do it until they're in that position, but like when you let go and kind of let it build itself because the hard work is there and the team's there, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, absolutely. There's no other outcome if you just put in the work.
Yeah. That's
1 + 1 is 2.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's funny because early on, that's all everybody says. You got to work hard. You got to work hard. And I'm sure it was easier for you because you went through the military. And I'm not saying kind of what he was saying, but I'm saying is like, what hard work is. Some people don't know what hard work is.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of people don't know.
I'll tell you what, working for my dad growing up, he does a lot of different catering things, chocolate fountains, photo booths. We're slinging these things all over the tri-state area.
Yeah, hustle.
The day I got my learner's permit, my dad sent me to do a chocolate fountain from school. Yelling at me, why am I late? I'm like, school let out at 2:41. It's 2:45. All right, I'm home. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, yeah, so just doing that my whole life, it's just that's all it is. And I'm, if I am lucky of anything, just being born into a family just with that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it was just crazy how everything just falls, into place like that.
So when was this the first spot that you guys looked at, or was there multiple spots?
So we spent a year and a half trying to make a spot in Allentown work. And it was weird because when we first found that location, it was really, really a really cool spot. Not a lot of traffic. It was a unique thing, but we knew we were doing a unique thing. So that was before we had a business plan put together, before we had financing, before we had, it was just a pipe dream at that point. But we knew we were kind of using that as like a catalyst to make this happen. And if that place was the place for it to happen, it would happen, and year and a half into that whole process, it ended up falling apart at the last minute when we had financing, when we were going for appraisals for things, and the numbers were not aligning, and we just couldn't come to an agreement on some things, and we packed up our toys and went home. And
how hard was that? How hard was that to walk away from being that close to something you guys have worked on for so long?
I don't want to seem like extraterrestrial, but like easy. For me, it's just, if it's not going to work, why am I going to sit there and complain about it? It's not fixing anything.
Yeah.
We literally shifted gears. We turned our energy into other things. Time was on our side. I was still 28 at the time. You know what I mean?
What a great age.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, just plowing through, just doing this. And I mean, at that point, we had enough knowledge and experience of at least the path that we're trying to go on that we can just kind of...
Were you guys still brewing at that point?
Oh, yeah.
Doing the beer fest and just pumping the beer out. So you knew behind you was this thing building up, and once you got into that space, let the fucking doors open.
We sold Mug Club memberships before we even left our first location, because we were expecting, like, once we buy the property, once we start construction, we're 6 months out from opening. Like, we were ramping up our marketing, ramping up, everything we were doing. And then it's like, fuck, no, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And then we have to explain to all these people who emotionally, fiscally invested in us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we told them from the beginning, like, we're not stopping. Okay, this sucks. But that's when, I think right about then is when we started doing our like weekly Monday update posts of like, this is what we did this week. Join us for this journey. You know what I mean? Like, we're not trying to scam no one. We're not nothing.
No, but that's a good idea, because there's, you have to keep them up to date, because if you don't, they're automatically going to think,
they just gave
this
up.
is a money marketing scheme. Like, you guys got my money and you made it look good. And then, but if you're doing that, that's, what a better way to, what a better way to bring them in.
I have nothing else.
But it also adds like, it adds a personal touch to it. That join us on the journey. You're part of this now. Like, you're in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And the other thing is getting, like, you're already now familiar with social media and like using that as a tool before you're even open, because that's so huge anymore now too.
Yeah.
So it's like you're talking to your group and Facebook or whatever, and you're communicating with all these people.
It's just been such a weird journey, and we've been asked a bunch of times by different reporters and different people, and what's your marketing plan and what's your strategy and what's this, and I'm like, well, I would probably need a strategy to tell you about it first. Like we're just us.
Yeah.
I did a lot of listening to podcasts, and if your circle doesn't have the resources that you need to find a circle that has the resources that you need, and everything's free. You have the internet. I can flip over my phone and have multi-millionaires talking about how they got successful.
Well,
it's not hard.
I was talking about like Sean. We know who Sean Whalen is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. So you listen to him too, and his thing. He's just like, hey man, the biggest advice I give to people all the time is steal everyone's idea. He goes, as mean as that sounds, if you want to know how to be the best realtor, go to look at the best realtors, do what they're doing, and copy them.
Absolutely.
Avoid all of the heartache and fucking up and trying to come up with your own way. Do what they're doing. And then when you get to the point where they are, then you can alter things and change, and it's the best advice ever.
Yeah, have your own flavor.
And his thing too is look at the 5 people that surround you. Your 5 closest friends.
You're the sum of it.
How successful are they? And if you look at you take a step back and you're like, wow, these people stink. That's as far as you're going to get.
Or not even if they stink, just not where I'm going.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have that. They have friends who are great friends that do anything for them. They love them 100%. Nothing wrong with that. 2 different paths, though.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can love people parallel.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm friend them, but I'm saying like,
but some people you do.
Yeah.
Some people.
There are some people that just they're not going anywhere, and you keep them around.
You look at them, and you're like, what are you doing? In
Weeding
my life?
out.
Yeah.
That's where you weed them out. Weed things out.
Yeah.
That's what my therapist always says. So now you lose the spot you're in. You're still doing stuff. You're keeping people up to date. What's on the table now? Is the bank spot on the table, or was that something that you guys saw before and you're coming back to? Because that's such a crazy location, but works so awesome.
Yeah, no. So the bank we were working with, loved us, loved what we were doing, saw that we were the real deal. We were going to make it happen with or without them. They wanted to be a part of it. In that process, I actually got in contact with the Allentown Economic Development Office and got a lot of resources through them while we were looking at the spot in Allentown. And I said, hey, I bet Easton and Bethlehem and Harrisburg and all these other places have economic development offices. So there's this thing called Google. Went on there, sent a couple emails out, and most of the towns were like, yeah, we didn't want to step on anyone's toes, but we've been waiting for you to reach out. Here's a list of properties that are zone appropriate for what you're trying to do. If you find a property that you like and you think fits your model and what you're trying to do, but it's not zoned appropriately, we'll rezone it for you. And I'm like, well, what applications do I need? And they're like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, can you put that on paper?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go down another 1.5 year road to say that I can't even zone this properly and do what I want to do here.
Now, are they like that because they know what you're going to do for the community and the revenue and bringing stuff to the area, or is that just how they work?
I think that's part of it. I mean, I think that Bethlehem's definitely on the fast path to, development. And
I think they're a little bit more forgiving, too. I know how Allentown is. I work in Allentown. And they're not willing to go through what Bethlehem would.
And they were trying, and all the people we were working with, you know what I mean? That's their job. It's the economic development office.
They're trying to bring, they're trying to bring people in, but I know I've heard a lot of horror stories. I know people that have gone and paid for permits, paid for architecture, paid for everything. And then a year they come and they go, hey, you didn't pull this permit. It's like, well, I just spent $8,000. Don't tell me I didn't pull a permit. Well, you have to start all over again. And it's like,
I'm that asshole.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Like, they just want to screw with you. I hate that. I don't think Bethlehem does that.
I mean, it's interesting to say the least when you do see places just open up in like 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's like, well, I don't know. I tried doing that. I don't know.
We're in year 5.
Or how about I don't know. I'll be as vague as possible. Swaths of land that were vacant forever, and we're kind of people jump through hoops to get that land, and then a company comes in and magically just takes it over, and it's like the other person didn't even exist. It's imagine what money can do.
It's the name of the game.
It'll push anything.
And if you're nobody from nowhere and don't know no one, and it's an uphill battle, but if you're all right with an uphill battle, there's nothing that anyone can do to stop you from living the American dream. No one.
Yeah. So then you guys found the spot that you're in. What else did you look at besides that spot?
We looked at a few spots. Right behind the Wooden Match on the north side, closer to the river, Fritch, I think it's called. There's like a building right there. That was for sale. There was a couple other small spots just on like side streets in North Bethlehem. And then we were introduced with our landlord, Larry, who owns, a bunch of small spots on South Side. And it was just weird as hell because it was a parking garage. Like there was nothing there, no plumbing, no electric, no HVAC, no windows, no doors, no nothing. Like it's a parking garage. And I'll never forget, like I was still just like newly dating my now current fiance, and like I walked into the parking garage with her and I'm like, this is it. And she's like,
hey, look what I did. Look at that.
There's a homeless man shitting there. I'm like, yeah, well, he won't be there when we're open.
Yeah, there'll be a bathroom.
If he is, he'll be in the bathroom. Yeah.
Oh man.
But and
did you know off the bat that was the spot?
Kinda. I mean, it was weird because our landlord Larry, he's kind of like me. He's definitely like, his head's in the clouds, but he's a doer. You know what I mean? Like he has a track record of he actually makes shit happen. So when you meet someone like that who's just kind of like, all right, man, like I don't know, that sounds cool, but he presented to us, tens of thousands of dollars of architectural renderings and drawings and
that's just not
stuff
cheap.
that he already invested in.
Yeah, and you don't go and do that for fun.
So was he looking was he looking to do a project before you guys were even there?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
He bought the property
to redo.
Yeah.
So he had a vision of like, hey man, and then you kind of took your vision and then you guys just came to him in the middle and be like, we can do this, this, and this. Man, how long was it when you started getting involved with him where you knew it was serious and you're like, all right, this is fucking crazy. We're putting apartments in. We're going to have Airbnbs. And then, that must have been, how did that feel, man? When like the door was just wide open. You're like, this is our fucking playground. This guy's playing ball. We can design this however we want. I mean, who the fuck's Airbnb being like that around here anyways?
Yeah. I mean, it literally was just like riding a wave, man. Like once you just catch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you go a little left, a little right, a little up, a little down. You know what I mean? But like you're doing it and you just like you're looking at what's ahead of you. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. You know what I mean? Like I don't have like a real precise, moment.
Yeah,
or
you're just
time.
kind of just
you're just
going.
like you're going down this path and you realize that this person's serious, right? So I have my business
putting
partner.
Elevators in.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, all right, I hear what he's trying to do and I see the drawings and you kind of test the waters. You're like, all right, yeah, let's go to
let's see how crazy he is.
Let's go to this meeting. Let's do this, and he's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's making it happen. He's on our team, and he met our families, and he's just really awesome guy, awesome guy.
Yeah,
and it's just like it just starts clicking, and you're like, all right, lean a little bit more in. You know what I mean? Like keep going, be a little bit more. I mean, we even posted little teaser pictures when we're looking at properties. We're like, hey, and we would have like Route 145 sign and like blurry in the background, like, where are we? But it just happened. It took so long, but it happened so quick. You know what I mean?
What was it like when it was finally all came together and you're just like sitting there and walking the building? Because I mean, the floor is awesome, like just the decor and everything, just. And then the bar itself is just so beautiful. I mean, for that to be done and you guys to be standing there coming from doing the shit in the garage, that had to be, because it's not, it's just the bar, it's the food truck area, it's the whole place where you guys brew and how that's set up. I mean, it's literally specced out to whatever the fuck you wanted. And then having the fucking shit up top and then doing the rooftop. And like when he was explaining everything, I was like, this isn't just like, hey, we're opening a bar. Like, what a fucking business to fucking do.
Yeah, I mean, that was all part of me testing the universe. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought I made some unrealistic goals. You know what I mean?
Isn't it crazy when you do that? Yeah. And then you get halfway and you're like, all right.
Things are coming along. The walls are painted. You know what I mean? I still do that. I still walk around at night. You know what I mean? I still just like... what the what has happened, it's definitely surreal, you know what I mean? It's opening up. I had a lot of people saying like, oh, that's so exciting. I'm like, it's all of the emotions at one time.
Yeah.
All of them. Like, sincerely scared, happy, angry, sad, confused, you know
Drunk.
what I mean? Half drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all the things, you know, and it's just, you know, to pinpoint, you know, how or when or where, it's just a collaboration of all of it.
Now, you guys opened, and it was a loud opening. It was a loud opening for the area. I don't think anything's been done that big and that big of like everybody was talking about it. You guys had lines around the block. Like, it was fucking crazy to open. What was that? Because, I mean, you're by the college over there. Like, what was the first reaction to just that opening, that wave of everybody who's been waiting and being, you know, there's the people who have been coming along, and they're your mug club people, and they're like, yeah, but then there's the people in the fucking area where like, hey, there's not a shitty bar. Now there's this nice fucking place that we can go to. There's food trucks. It's, you know, it's everything you would want out of a bar locally, and you guys hit a home run with it. It isn't, you don't walk in and go, oh yeah, you know what they should have done. Like, you guys, like, it was a team, executed, in and out, done beautifully. What was it like opening those doors? Because it had to be fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it was similar to just the day you show up to the ship to go on deployment. You know what I mean? Like, you get there, you did all the training, you did all of the everything for years and preparing and emotionally and physically, and you get there and it's like, all right, give me a kiss, Mom. You know what I mean? Like, here we go.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, taking the step, you know, just leaning into it. You know, that morning you wake up and you're like, well, there could be no one, or there could be everyone. Like, you.
Yeah, that's weird too, because you know it's not going to be no one, but it's so bizarre having those doubts where you're like, what if no one comes to this and I'm just standing here?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No.
And then it's like a discussion of like, how much money did we put into this?
It's very real.
Yeah.
And you know, we literally, you know, over the process of the, you know, getting everything financed, everything, we've run our financials with 10 different business models. So if no one shows up, what do we have to do to cover our nut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so what does that business model look like? How do we achieve that to pay our bills? So like, we went into it knowing multiple different scenarios that could possibly play out, and what played out was none of them. You know what I mean? But trusting that you've done the resource and actually exhausted all your resources, and you know, you feel, you know, it gets to a point where you're like, all right, well, I don't know what else to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna work or it's not, and we're gonna figure it out. There's no not making it work. We have our homes as collateral for it. We feel comfortable with the different models that we've made up, and, you know, hypothetically, and, you know, it's all doable. All the numbers play out. It all works. So you just go in saying, all right, let's do this. We're gonna go balls to the wall. We're gonna, you know, just go as hard as we can all day, every day, and wherever it leaves us, it leaves us.
How hard was it to keep up?
So if it wasn't for the pandemic, we would have ran out of beer, like straight up out of beer completely.
Which is not a problem. That's not bad. That's awesome.
We would have had to close our doors until we got more
temporarily. But if you look at it this way, it's like, hey man, like, we literally sold. You could list how many gallons. You could be like, we're killing it here. That would draw more attention. That would, you know.
Yeah. No. We sold 25,000 pints in our first month.
Yeah, which is
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. Yeah, just how to keep up, you know. And we had our staff, you know, 100% it's all like there to thank. You know what I mean? I'm a person.
Yeah, like, are they all in? Like, everyone's all in, and the whole
100%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They live, breathe, sleep, you know, all of it, and we grow together, we learn together, we play together, they all when they're not working, they come to the brewery and bring their friends, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's a true testament of it's
like,
good. Like,
hey,
you don't hang out where you work after work.
Yeah, I didn't go to Ocean Spray and just watch the bottles go down the line when I'm fucking bored, you know? So like,
hanging out on smoke breaks.
Yeah, like, oh, this place is sweet. Yeah, no, so there's we just had some little pep talks, and we said, we just need everyone to understand that, some of you are from chains, some are from small mom and pop places, some of you have never worked in a restaurant. What we all have to remember is that this is brand new, and that our process tonight isn't going to be our process tomorrow, isn't going to be the process the next day. And we need to not get mad at when things aren't working. We need to identify why they don't work and come up with solutions. Period. And if you don't have a solution, pocket it until you do. I don't like, you're just bitching.
There's no room for bitching. It's going to be fixed.
What an awesome approach. And especially to be an employee, to have somebody running things that way is just so much better than some boss
being yelled at.
Getting whipping people. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, it's crazy. Work harder. What?
I don't yell. You will never see me yell. You'll never see me lose. I mean, there have been a couple times we had some drunks, a little testy. I just get very stern. I don't yell. I don't raise my voice. My dad was very vocal growing up. And I just remember what that was like. And then when I was in the military, gaining rank in the military, and I got to a point where they're like, all right, now you're leadership. Like, all these people that you're now leading are your friends. Are you comfortable doing that? Are you comfortable yelling at them to get
flipping a script and being the dickhead now?
And this is where I told my boss, who always yelled, I was like, if you have to yell to get shit done, you're a poor leader.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, we'll see how well that works.
They should want...
I was like, I don't know, you suck.
They should want to follow what you say, because they trust you.
Yeah.
Not you need to fucking make them.
Yeah. They should be coming up with solutions before you even have a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if your people aren't doing that, they might not be the right people. You don't have to yell at them and drag them through the mud. Like, it's okay if they're not for you and you're not for them. Yeah. That's all right. Like, go be successful somewhere else. I'll give you a letter of recommendation. You know what I mean? Like, but we're looking for a very specific breed, and people, they either fit in immediately or weed themselves out. You're either in the way or you're contributing. Yeah, that's it.
There is no kind of hang around,
floating around. No. Yeah.
Now you guys had the huge opening. You're selling all this beer. You're on the way to selling out all of your beer, and then the pandemic hits. And then now there's restrictions, and I remember the restaurant business and the bar business was just taking beating. It was the only business that didn't let up on the beating all the way up until where I believe businesses like yourself and other businesses that I know through friends of mine that just were like, fuck you. They're like, I'm not losing everything. What was it like having to deal with the transition from being on top of everything to being shook and then being like, we don't even know what the fuck is going on?
You go into it knowing that those events are going to happen. You don't know it's going to be a pandemic. You know what I mean? You don't know what it's going to look like. People could have health issues. In our first month, one of our bartenders died in a car accident. You know what I mean? Like, there are things that just happen. You know what I mean? And you have to go into it knowing that that's going to happen. You know what I mean? And if that's too scary for you, like, you have no business doing it. Yeah. So if you go into it knowing that, and having the right people, we had a couple employees who, we have a communications app, and, they're like, hey, I'm talking about what we're going to work on and how we're going to, what we're going to try doing. And if anyone has any ideas, feel free, all the time. And there was a few who were like, hey guys, it was great meeting you all. It was great working with you. I love you all, but I don't think there's going to be a coming back from this. I said, let's just stop everyone right here. Josh and I have our homes as collateral for this shit. It's going to be us and the fucking cockroaches. Yeah. Period. Like, if you're not willing to go through this with us, there's the door.
That's the thing. And you just found the weeding out process. Yeah. Like, hey, if you don't think like you're quitting right now, thanks for everything you've done.
And I'll say this, and the person who said that's still with us and doing amazing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just takes someone grabbing them by the shirt and
be like, yo, we're not done yet.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Hey, we're not done yet.
This was fun.
There's definitely people that get afraid, in those instances. And it's just like, hats off to them for trusting you guys and going forward. There's definitely people that would have walked away from that scenario, but, that's...
And like you said, how do you know? How many pandemics have we gone through? You don't know.
Yeah.
And the way they sold it to us when it first came out was like, there's going to be people dying in the streets. Like
that's what we saw from China. There's people in hazmat suits dragging bodies in the vans.
and I mean that's what I said. So you got to think when that person saw that, probably like, holy shit, like
yeah, but like I've been to third world countries and I've smelled burning flesh and seen famine and destruction and all, you know, healthcare systems that are non-existent. And you know, you come here and people, you know, you can still go to Starbucks and get a Big Mac on your drink. Like, like I'm not making light of it at all. Yeah, people died. It sucks.
Yeah, that was the first thing.
I'm not.
That was the first thing where the guys from the jiu-jitsu school, they were like, well, wait a minute, like, why the fuck is Lowe's allowed to do whatever they're doing? And then I went to Lowe's with my friend because he wasn't working and was doing home projects. It was like, you know, the stuff people were doing to stay sane. And I went there and it was a shit show. There was no 6 feet. It wasn't anything they were pushing on TV.
They weren't.
Nobody fucking cared. That was so early on. It wasn't even before anyone was wearing a mask. Yeah. And he was like, well, wait a minute. I'm not allowed to run my business and I'm going to lose everything that I built myself over the last 20 years, sacrificing from living inside the goddamn gym to all the way up here now where I'm paying for my fucking goddamn mortgage. And if you think that I'm going to close this shit, you're fucking crazy. And it's crazy that people were agreeing with them who have normal 9-to-5s and were like, hey, man, you need to shut the bar down and lose everything. And start over.
Yeah.
Maybe go back to the military.
Yeah.
That's for you.
Yeah. You know,
like, what the fuck, man?
There were, you know, the way we look at it is, you know, the people who think that we should lose everything we've ever worked for, the homes that our children and families live in for the greater good.
Yeah, I know what that's called, and I don't agree with any of that.
You know, and I was like, I don't know. I don't care what you have to say. You're not my countryman. You're not my friend. You're not my family. You could fuck off and hide in your basement forever. And, you know, if you want to come back around and reassess and come sit down and talk to me about how and why we made the decisions that we made, I'm loving, I'm accepting, I'm understanding. But if you don't want to, stay in your fucking lane.
It was just so depressing. It was such a defeatist fucking attitude. Everyone adopted, and they're just like, well, we're all screwed. Here we are. And it's like, what do you mean? I was outside all day long. What are you talking about? Like, there's no, like, it just, everyone quit. And there's still a lot of people quitting.
Yeah.
And they still look and they're like, oh, things will never be normal again. You know how you make it normal? You just say it's normal and you fucking make it normal. You just go about your life.
You get what you accept?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not going to be like a time when it's going to be like, okay, all the lights went on and now we're back to normal. That doesn't happen. You just make it happen and you adjust. And they don't want to do that. There's people that are afraid. And like I said, if you want to stay home, stay home.
Yeah, I always said, like, if you tell a kid that they're going to be grounded for a year, they're going to jump out the fucking window.
Yeah.
You tell them they're grounded for 2 weeks?
2 weeks? Yeah.
To think about what they did?
It was listen, it was just to flatten the curve.
And then another weekend?
Yeah.
Then a month?
Yeah.
Then 3 months?
And then when people start questioning, there's a magical another wave, and then there's 18 waves.
Well, so
they're all gone now.
Listen, we had 9 months to plan for the second wave that they all knew was coming. The governor, during an emergency order, can commandeer hotels, he can commandeer event centers and agricultural halls, and bring up the National Guard.
Yeah, but that shit doesn't matter because his business was still running.
Well,
his family business was still open.
I'm saying you could do those things if the pandemic required it of them, but none of those things happened. So then when the second wave came and the PPL center was going to close down and turn into a field hospital.
Yes.
That never happened.
Nope.
But you're going to close all the businesses down because we're not prepared for a second wave? Whose fault is that? You know, and then you blow the whole budget, and then you blow the CARES Act that was meant for the businesses struggling on the misbalanced budget.
Oh, you mean like for like a Los Angeles Lakers getting money?
Yeah.
But like they don't make billions, and they're like, oh no, we need money because we're closed. No, that's not how it was meant to be for families who want to keep their shit open, not because your stockholders didn't get their cool fucking couple million.
Yeah.
And that's where everything went wrong. That's where it all went wrong. And like the fucking Hollywood I won't get into it.
And listen,
but Hollywood actors that all their restaurants got money, and like they need fucking money.
Listen, you know, and you see these things going on around you, and you're like, oh, it's just a fucking clown show.
Yep.
What was the turning?
I'm not playing.
What was the turning point? what was the turning point when you were asked to do the news? What was it that you guys were doing that they approached you to talk? Because I know they were highlighting businesses like that gym in New Jersey, and then they were.
But then they attacked him. Then they attacked him and like treat him like he's a fucking weirdo. Like in the beginning, it was like, look at this guy fighting for his business, and then a week later, it's like, how dare he? We need to shut him down.
That's typical media
ratings.
What was it? So what was it that you guys were doing that they wanted to talk to you, or were they just? Was it a business? Did they approach you because you guys are a bigger business?
So, man, how'd that work? So, we were kind of in the spotlight since, before we opened. Us being a veteran-owned company got a lot of notoriety. Everyone was really rooting for the underdogs who just got out of the military, and we're just, putting it all on the line and doing this new cool thing and helping the community. We were doing, we packed 10,000 meals for hungry children in the Lehigh Valley before we were even open. We had all of our employees coming out and doing that. And I'm like, all right, you're each leaders at these tables and helping these teams do that. Yeah. And they're like, I'm like, you gotta be a leader if you're at Seven Sirens, and helping people put rice and beans in packets.
But that's another thing. Every veteran-owned company, they always seem to help everyone else, and they get shit notoriety. Like people just blow that under water. But then you got companies that have billions of dollars, and you have to beg them and file and complain. Like that shouldn't even be an issue.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And every veteran company I know goes out of their way to help. Yeah, every fucking
shirt
buddy.
Off their. I've literally gotten kicked out of Liberty Street Tavern in Allentown because I gave someone the shirt off my back, and I was like, "It's okay, I already paid. I'm on my way out."
Yeah,
it was. It was just crazy. But back to your question about how we got to that point where we were on Fox News twice in a month. We knew shutdowns were coming again. We knew, I don't know, call it intuition, call it just my life experiences.
Spidey sense.
Yeah, I don't trust any of them. I worked for the government. I don't trust any of them. I know that they're self-serving. I know that there's things going on behind the scenes that no one will ever see, and there's no reason to speculate about it. You know what I mean? And just gotta
know that
do
it's
your
there.
thing. Yeah, so I knew it was coming, and so with that knowledge, I reached out to the health department, I reached out to the police department, reached out to the liquor control board. I said, listen, guys, me again, we're dealing with this. We can't go backwards. So what do we do? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, we can't close. We cannot. What is the solution? We're coming to you, trying to build bridges, trying to find solutions, because this whole pandemic, no one's talking about solutions.
No,
right? And
they're just want to hide.
No, all these, they're just pointing fingers, and they're no longer printing their names on closure orders or scribbling their names on closure orders. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these things, and that's when they realize that, like, oh shit, these are just like real people. Like, I'm a real person. I told them, I'm like, look, I don't want to make your job miserable. I'm sure it sucks bad enough right now. So what do we do? How do we work together? How do we do this? Because I'm not going backwards. And that's when a lot of them open up. They're like, look, we watch the same live videos of the governor that you do. No one asks us what we're legally able to do. No one asks us how we're going to implement it, if we should implement it, what we think about it, what we think a better plan would be about it. None of these things. No one communicates. So the fact that we were communicating up to them, it opened a whole new line of communication.
I found it funny that, like you said, they didn't prepare for anything, and they knew all this, and they didn't do anything. Like I got a whole bunch of I volunteer for search and recovery team, and
awesome.
we got contacted by Eight Oaks Distillery up in New Tripoli, and they were like, "Hey, we're making a shit ton of hand sanitizer, giving out to police, firemen, all this stuff. Do you guys need some?" Why wasn't that why didn't the governor contact those people and say, hey, we're going to need these supplies. Can we shift tax money to you guys? And you know what I mean? Like, they didn't do any of that.
So I have two theories. They're either wildly incompetent, or
I believe that theory. That's part of it.
Yes. Or malicious.
Yeah. Well.
And either two of those, I don't need to participate.
Yeah. But you have companies around here that are known that can do things like that, and they just didn't.
And that's what emergency orders are for, freeing up funding.
Listen, if you go back to, I worked at one point at Victaulic. And they still have the machines for fucking when it was fucking wartime, when they were making shit for the war. Why can't we do that shit for this? Change the factories to do this now.
I don't know.
I mean, that's what the American way is. Like, we're supposed to be able to do this.
It's almost like they knew something we didn't.
Yeah. Well, God damn it, I love this podcast. This is a good podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And like I said, I'm not speculating.
No.
I know how things are properly executed. I know how the government works. I know how to get people on board with a mission, even if they don't agree with the mission. I mean, we tagged Governor Wolf in some of our Seven Sirens posts, like, "Hey, come have a beer from 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Come, we'll put a Lunchable on the table because that's what you want us to do, and help us. Please, so sincerely, get me on board." Yeah. I'm all ears, open eyes, open mind, open heart. Let's make this happen, and let me help other people who.
But it's more and more government doesn't accept those invitations anymore, and it should be that. And I know that's, like I said, we're earlier about firearms and stuff. Like, they shut down certain things, and these companies are reaching out and saying, "Please tell us what to do, and we'll follow your rules. Like, let's work together." Mm-hmm. And there's just no communication. They just say, "Nope, you're wrong."
Yeah, one side of the street you can serve hot dogs, the other side of the street you can't. What?
For what? Yeah. What's your reasoning? It is.
Yeah, because
it is what it is.
That's what that's what their interpretation. Well, my interpretation is different than that.
Yes. How about we write shit that you can't interpret it different ways?
Yeah. How about that? Well, they intentionally.
We
made
have
it
an
vague.
English language. It's pretty funny. You can actually design things to mean one thing.
They intentionally made it vague.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it's super vague.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's open to people with money.
Yeah. So when you were when you were working with the people you reached out to, I mean, it's you basically told them, "Hey, we're going forward with everything." I'm sure the relationship was better because you weren't just doing shit. Like, they weren't like, "Oh, look what these guys are doing. Now you're a nuisance and whatnot." Mm-hmm. So you start being open to that. So I guess the buzz starts going around, and then that's when Fox reached out to you.
Yeah. No. So we made that Facebook post a day or two before Thanksgiving Eve. That was the first
Oh, I forgot that was when they told people you couldn't be with your families.
Yeah.
Oh God, you remember? Oh my God, yeah. Hey, you can't go to your families. And then you look on the news, like every single congressperson went home to their.
Or they're at restaurants, or they're getting their hair done, or they're doing whatever they want.
And what is it? Thanksgiving Eve is like the second biggest drinking night.
Oh, that's right. Didn't they shut the bars down, or they tried to, or is that where they started doing the curfew on the bars?
It was 5 p.m. till 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So we at this point we already had the conversations with our attorney, with the local authorities.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, we made that Facebook post, and then 5 different local news stations called us within an hour because our shit went viral. You know what I mean? And so we did a couple things. We had a couple news stations literally sitting in the parking lot waiting for the police to come shut us down.
Yeah.
Like, that night, they were like, "Oh, we're just going to hang out. We're just waiting to see what's going on.
We're just letting the van warm up."
Yeah. So I
And-
fucking hate. Listen, I was interviewed one time, and I never want to punch somebody in the face so bad. When just randomly asked me about the weather. And I was walking out of my office, and I'm like, what? And he's like, what do I? And I answered him honestly. And then I found that I was on a newsletter, and people were like, "Wow, you didn't even make any sense." They switched, and I was like, "You mother! How can you fuck me over on the weather?"
Yeah. I got interviewed for cutest guy in
town.
No,
you did not.
I can see that.
Yeah, it was around Valentine's Day.
You did not.
So you do the news thing, and then now you're going doubly viral.
Yeah. So we're on Morning Call. We're on
All press is good press.
Yeah, we're on all these things. We're the hate mail's coming in already.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I see. That's what's funny is I'm looking at it from the point of view of here's this guy, and he, we told the whole story, and it's such a build up, and then I forgot that there's people shitting all over you, being you're killing people.
There was people shitting on us before the pandemic.
Yeah,
people hated just that we were different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You get that.
Like just the fact that we were utilizing our liquor license to its entirety.
Yeah,
cocktails, wine, cider, mead. We're allowed to sell any alcohol made in Pennsylvania.
Oh, it's almost
funny
like
what
when
people,
you do fucking your research, you can do some shit.
They all knew. They all did their research. They all know. It's just a lot of times they were just very proud of their product and said, "Oh no, we do this here. This is what." And I'm like, "Well, I make money here."
Yeah.
I'm proud as shit of my product. I stand behind it. It's some of the best beer I've ever had. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but we don't serve anything that I wouldn't want to order somewhere.
Don't you think
period.
it's weird that like people think you shouldn't be making money?
Yeah, fuck them.
It's bizarre. It's
'em.
bizarre.
Yeah, but it's only been the last couple of years when
greedy.
If you make
But you
money,
should
you're
be.
a piece of shit.
You should be.
But yet Hollywood people can make hundreds of $1 millions for playing fucking pretend, and they're okay.
People get
but if you
weird,
work
man.
hard and you fucking do that, like you're a piece of shit.
People get real weird when somebody follows out an idea and it's successful. They get real fucking weird.
It instantly try to attack you.
Because every idea that they've ever wanted to pursue in their
And they
life
didn't-
flashes
Yeah,
before their
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
eyes, and they're like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my hand modeling career fucking fell apart. Fuck you.
How
That's
dare
crazy.
you.
Give me one of those.
Let me sit on it.
Oh, jeez.
What? We can get money for that.
Yeah.
So now you guys are doubly viral. Everything's going crazy. People are shitting all over for you. When does it start kind of, because, I mean, it was awesome to see because, you know, like finishers did whatever the fuck they wanted. And like they started coming down to the bar and they're like, oh, this guy's also like, you know, fuck that. We're not losing anything. And like, it was cool seeing the businesses in the area kind of say, we're not losing what we're going to do. There's businesses that went under, and there's also a lot of businesses that were going under, and then we're like, hey, cool, this is a giant meteor I'd love to hug.
Yeah.
You know? So it's cool to see who's standing at the end. It's cool to see who fought for the rights during it. It's cool to see just everything that you guys did where now you're, you know, what would you say you're almost back to completely normal?
So we're still kind of treading the line, right? Like I don't want it to be just a complete shit show in there. You know what I mean? Like, it's 7,000
To lose
square
everything
feet.
you built.
Yeah, it's 7,000 square feet, 320 people occupancy, you know, in one room, you know, and I don't even know if I have 320 people who are comfortable being in one room right now. You know what I mean? Like, so for us, we got as many tables, you know, there was almost all standing room before. You know, we had a lot of seating, but, you know, a lot of it was just groups of people kind of hanging out, drinking. You know, we got as many tables in there as we possibly could, as many chairs at tables so that people can be seated at tables. We are still doing that. I'm no longer doing lines at the front door. Like I'm not, you know, 2 in, 2 out. The placard on our wall says 320, and I'm not forcing anyone to come in to feel uncomfortable. You know, we respect how everyone wants to, you know, conduct themselves as long as it's lawfully and morally, and you know what I mean? Like that's what we're adhering to. We're adhering to all the permits and licenses and, you know, all the shit that we had to bend over backwards for years to get, that is actually the dictating force.
Factor.
It's just,
you know what I mean?
But it's just so weird. Like I have been in gun stores, and even I'll catch myself sometimes. I'll walk in and I'm like, grab a mask, and everybody just stares at you, and I'm like, oh, that's right. Like there's like we can go back to normal again. We don't have to like. We don't want you to have a fucking mask in here. Like we really stay away from everybody. And it's like you catch yourself, and it's like there are still people that for the next couple years won't go anywhere without a mask.
People in other countries wear masks daily.
Yeah, we're not doing that. I'm not doing that shit.
Before all this shit.
Yeah, cool. Their air quality is horse shit.
And, you know, the
And they're
government
crazy.
convinced them that they shouldn't be individuals and that they
I'm
shouldn't.
not doing that. I'm gonna get one of those mesh face masks. You know what I mean? They have ones where like mesh you can see through and shit. I'm going all about it.
It's weird. It's weird still seeing it. It's weird seeing that.
It's not right. I don't like this having my kids every morning.
Like,
Like
I was coming
get
out
your
of-
fucking mask on. I
was coming
me
out
off.
of Wegmans
Gives me
and
the heebie-jeebies.
It
just
pisses
thinking
me
about
off. Like
Yeah.
my kids have to
Yeah.
go through that shit.
I was coming out of Wegmans and there was a guy passing me with a mask on. I had my mask on and I saw a lady with another mask on. I'm like, this is like a fucking movie, man. I'm like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, I gave up on them.
Yeah.
I don't wear a mask, and I respect businesses that don't want me to be there. I have money to spend elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
There's definitely places you can go. You start heading up towards the mountains. There's no mask going on there.
In the past week, the post office, the bank, the grocery store, Wawa, no one says shit.
Yeah.
Everyone's over
You
it.
shouldn't go to Wawa. You should probably go to Sheetz. I'm just saying.
He hates Wawa.
I mean, you're
Throw that out there.
kind of an asshole.
Sheets has terrible breakfast.
You're kind of full of shit or whatever, but
Yeah, hey, come on.
Where do you guys see like this kind of leveling out? And like, I'm sure you guys are getting your feet back under you. At least you had the time to make more beer, because you would have probably been we would be discussing the crazy story of you running out of beer. Like, where do you guys see everything kind of with your path? Where do you see getting back on your your business plan, your new plan? Like, what's in the future for you, or are you just taking it day by day?
We use this year to just stop and breathe, look around us, reassess what the fuck just happened. What happened that first month. Business model works. People like it, right? Like, it's going to come back. How do we prepare ourselves for that moment, right? So we use the past year to train and to develop our recipes and do all these things in anticipation for when they wave the magic wand.
Don't say that word, that they're the new normal.
Oh, and I don't
fucking hate that.
I won't. You will not.
But I can't. I can't wait till you come back on this podcast and we talk about how you ran out of beer. When things go back to normal,
good,
and you were like, "Oh shit, fucked up, ran out of beer."
Josh, I know you're going to be listening to this.
Yeah.
Fuck you, brew more beer.
Yeah.
What's going to be funny is
we literally sold everything. Good.
Once this weather breaks, it's going to be
brutal.
It's going to be totally different.
We had a line at the door today at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Man,
Last 2 days have been nice.
Yeah.
What do you see as far as just like extra things you plan on doing there? You guys plan on, you did the comedy night, and you said that went well. Like, are you just kind of doing more like shit where it's going to be table stuff? And
yeah, I mean, I didn't want to like reassess how we're going to change the model to, defy more or open more, whatever you want to call it, until there was the demand for it. There's no reason I need to make a spectacle of myself and make an ass of myself if there's not a line at the door. Yeah. You know what I mean? If the demand isn't there, why would I just do this? So, I mean,
what a good way to look at it.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, why?
Yeah.
Like,
we got to freak out. There's not 350 people waiting to get in like when we open, so let's just work with what we got.
Yeah. And if we can skate by on that, and we didn't lay off any employees, you know what I mean? Like,
that's huge.
Didn't cut any hours. Like, if we can keep them happy, motivated, fed, you know what I mean?
And like you said, they're family. They've been there since, they're all working together for one common goal. So as
very
long as
fast
they're going,
and furious.
No, not at all. Like
very family oriented. I think what you're doing is awesome. I think I believe there's a lot of people in the community that looked up to what you were doing. I feel like there's somebody that needed to be like, hey man, like we had a conversation and you said people were being like, how do you do this? And we're driving there and you were like, I have a permit on my wall. No one's told me I have to stop doing it. And I think more people like that are slowly coming out. And I feel within time, it's just going to be the more people that are doing that, the more people are going to wake up and just kind of get back their lives and their businesses that are being ruined by, like I said in the beginning, the industry. I grew up in the restaurant industry. I have friends that own restaurants. I have friends that own gyms, and it's like they got hammered and nobody fucking helped out. Nobody let them out. And hats off to you for even just getting to know you and seeing how you run everything. And it's very specific and organized and calculated. Just who you are as a person to just do what you do. And I think somebody needed to do it in the area. So, I mean, the person. Yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did.
And you make good fucking beer. So
yeah.
Good. Thank you for that. I mean,
but like I said, the guys from Finishers, they were doing their own thing. And, that was the first time that it was like, they were like, all right, cool. Somebody's next to us. It's not just us that are trying to do this.
Yeah, no, the part about leadership is no one's going to anoint you a leader, right? Nobody's going to come up to you and say, hey, it's your time.
Yeah.
It's your time to step up and people are going to follow you. What you have to do is do things that are inherently right, whether or not you have people following you in that moment. Because when you do that and you do what's inherently right and you trust your morals and your moral compass, other people say, yo, yeah, that's how I feel. And people gravitate to that. It comes down to every, how you do anything is how you do everything. Every little paper towel on the ground, I can't walk over. I'll lose my mind. I'm not OCD, but I know, like, I'm training myself. If I go in a public restroom, I fucking wipe the piss off the toilet before I leave. You know what I mean? Because I don't want the person walking behind me thinking I'm a fucking slob that doesn't give a shit about other people's shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how you do anything's how you do everything. You just have to, like, and when your employees see you doing that, they go, oh shit, I can't step over a paper towel next time. You know what I mean? Like, it's setting the standard.
It sets a precedent.
Yeah, I don't go over and go, hey, assholes, who didn't see that paper towel?
Yeah.
I do it because it needs to get done.
Or wait till they walk by and don't pick it up.
And then make a scene
I
of it.
saw that you walked over there.
I've worked for people like
I've been
that.
watching. Yeah, like what the fuck? And I've had employees like, because we have like, we try doing touch bases, sit downs with each individual employee, asking them how we think we're doing, what they're, what they would do, where they want to go, if they want to develop in the company, all these things. And I've had a couple times where like, hey, when you do those things, are you like passive aggressively trying to like, I'm like, if you feel like I am, maybe you should do it, but I'm not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not my intention. I'm doing it because no one's above it. And for anyone to say like, oh, that's not my job, like, the fuck it is. I actually write your description.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works. And if I can do it, I mean, you'll see me there any night, bussing tables, greeting people.
Yeah.
And it's funny as shit because like I've had instances where like, some girls are like, oh yeah, like I totally want to get a job here, this and that. I'm like, oh yeah, we're always hiring. And they're like, well, I don't want to do what you're doing. And I'm like, well, I'm the fucking owner.
Yeah. Well,
So guess what? You're never going to do work here. Well, you're too good to bus tables. Or yeah, no. Crazy.
The hard work pays off. All the stuff that you've done before, even, prior to military, growing up, doing the stuff with your parents, and then doing the military, doing this, and the standard you hold yourself shows to just the story itself. There was so much to take out of this, and then how you held yourself and did the correct things during a time when people were panicking and didn't know what to do. So my hats are off to everything you do, besides the fact that the beer is fantastic. And I want to thank you for coming on. I definitely want to do this again. I know there's multiple guys with you, so we can either do something over at your place or we can do something here where it's just kind of bullshitting and have some beers and it's less of an interview. I want to thank Torres for sitting in the back through the whole thing. I know Mad J's Barbecue is always over at your place.
I thought I smelled him. I thought he said he had to leave like an hour ago.
Yeah, and Jenna came down. She's looking to do photography, so it's cool watching her try and do her own thing. But I want to give you a moment to plug anything you want to plug as far as how people can get a hold of you, what's the best place to do it, where, what your hours are, anything you want to plug Seven Sirens, just please feel free. Got you, man. I appreciate it. So open 7 days a week, no reservations, no time limits, no group sizes, none of that. We have food trucks every day. Different menus all the time. People hit us up, ask us, where's your food menu? Like, well, it's different food every day, so we don't have a menu for that. We have live music every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We always have different events. We just had comedy last night. That was a huge hit where, we do paint and sips. We do, as much as we possibly can in-house. Follow us on all of our social media, Instagram, social, Facebook, Seven Sirens Beer. Is what we're under, and that's where we usually post all of our calendars, all of our weekly events, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, you give us a call or voice. We got a little automated thing that has our hours, and we're open Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Friday, we usually serve till about 11:30. Saturday we're noon to about 11:30. Sunday noon to 9. We're there all the time. If we do food drives, toy drives, all that kind of stuff. So if you're in need of food or anything like that, we literally have pallets of food that customers bring in, and we either bring to New Bethany right behind the brewery, or we've literally had people walk up and say, "Hey, I heard you guys you have food." Like, yeah, here you go. We'll pack up a bag for you. So anything that anyone needs, beer related or not, we're here for you. We're all, this is one big shit show. We're all pushing through it together. So let's start acting like Americans again and helping each other and get through this. Fuck yeah, I don't know how to close any better than that.
I would close it right the fuck on that. I'm not even, this is nothing.
No.
I was gonna be like, what are you doing for St. Patty's Day? Well, that's ruined.
Hard.
Everything. Yeah, so we had to shut down for last St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, well, that's right when I was talking to you guys about doing stuff, because I remember who's the super big guy?
Aaron.
Yeah, he was gonna do he's like, I'm getting in an outfit. He's
Leprechaun.
like, come down, it's gonna be crazy.
I've got it warmed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, St. Patty's Day is on a Wednesday, so we're doing both weekends, huge St. Patty extravaganzas, and every day during the week, because fuck it.
Yeah.
No.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. If you're a first-time listener or first time getting into the show, you can go to neveragainstudio.com. That has everything there, our apparel, the previous podcast, is the YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube. I want to get the YouTube up and going. And other than that, thank you so much, and we'll definitely do something, man. You guys are always doing cool stuff over there, and I know you were podcasting before all this crazy stuff, so we should do something with an event over there as well.
I'm with it.
Cool, man. Awesome. We met briefly, and I like coming on, and then I was like, I want to get to know him here, and the myth led up to the story, man. You're doing a lot of good things, and I'm rambling now, and I can't close.
Yeah, you're just
This
trying
is
to come
what
up with an end.
happens, and whatever. Later.